All right, welcome to Trust the Grind podcast, right? So, JNC Concrete Restoration Inc., I'm one of the co-founders. We obviously do a lot of grinding for many of our installations, hence the name Trust the Grind. But it also relates to the grinding of getting us to where we are at our current stage, 10 years in business. There's been a lot of grinding on our end, not only on the floors, but also on the back end on building this business. What's gotten us here is building relationships with general contractors, homeowners, other installers, right? Even other tradesmen. So all we want to do is we actually have another seat here and open our doors to different guests from either other industries, whether they're just starting out or they've been several years in their own business or trade. And we'll also be going out and meeting with other guests. Again, the idea here is very simple. Cameras, mics, very little lighting, and we can make this thing mobile and hopefully share inspiring stories from other entrepreneurs, other people that just have had trials and tribulations both in business and in life. So stick around. Bro, let's try this thing again. The first video was very distorted with the audio.
Yeah.
So I think it'll flow a lot smoother too, right? We've been kind of staying in touch a little bit, so.
Definitely. Have a second go at it, dude.
Yeah.
Learn from the mistakes.
No mistakes. Lessons learned. Lessons learned.
Right.
All right, bro. So let's get to it. Let's hear your story again. How what you were doing before barbering, basically. How you got into barbering before the business itself.
Yeah. So I initially got into barbering because when I was younger, I think I was at a point in my life where I really had no sense of direction and where I wanted to go. And it wasn't until my girlfriend at the time was going to cosmetology school, right, learning how to do women's hair. She would come home and kind of tell me all about it and how excited she was for it, and kind of hinted the idea of going to barber school. And I looked into it, talked to my own barber, did a little bit of research, just asking about it. And I fell in love with it once I sat in the chair as I was waiting for my barber, actually, looking around at all the gentlemen and the customers and the vibe, everything. I was like, this would be a pretty cool thing to do. Just seems like their barber and their client are just they were just hanging out, watching the game, having a beer, cracking jokes, dude. Everybody's having a grand old time. So that kind of appealed to me. So then after that, I was like, man, this would be a pretty cool career to do, cool job to do. And then I stacked up my paychecks from the job I was working at and saved up my money, and then just decided to just quit and focus on barbering full-time student.
And you went into a barber school or what? How was that?
Yeah, I went into barber college. And at the time, it took me about 9 to 10 months to complete, because you have to complete a certain amount of hours before you're eligible to take your license. So I did about, I think it was 1,200 hours back then, and that took me about 8 to 9 months to complete. Wow. And then from there, I was eligible to take my test, passed it, and then started working.
Man, and that whole time while you were going to college, you weren't working, right? Or were you?
No, I wasn't actually. No, because it was pretty much a full-time gig, 40 hours a week that I was putting in. I was commuting, from Petaluma down to San Pablo, Richmond area. It's about like a 45 minute commute, and then you're adding traffic on top of that, right? So you're spending like 10 hours out there. So I really had no time to have any sort of job. So the money that I kind of saved up kind of helped me through that. And then also what really helped me out was I was able to hop on unemployment. And they were giving me steady checks just to kind of get by, pay for my gas.
Some of the costs.
Yeah, exactly. And just kind of made it work, And there was little challenges here and there throughout the journey, but overall it was just a small sacrifice, It was a small little sacrifice I had to make, for a long-term gain,
Yeah. And then once you got into barbering, was it at any point like, I think we all go through that, like a point where we're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Did you struggle at any point with that, as far as like whether it was scheduling, commuting, or finding clients?
I'd say so. Yeah, of course. You always kind of have that thought in the back of your head. If what you're doing is the right decision, right? And a lot of times, anytime you're starting something new, you're always kind of asking yourself, am I doing the right things? Am I doing this correctly? Is it going to be worth it? Like all these kind of thoughts start creeping into your head, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit of self-doubt, But at least for me, I just kept pushing through, like just kind of seeing, like just say, you know what, I'm going to do it, and then just kind of see what happens, learn along the way, and see it all the way through,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And not get discouraged too.
And then that sort of like sense of self doubt, was that throughout, like even going while you're going to the barber college, or just when did that kick in?
Yeah, probably in the beginning, because it was so new to me, and you're starting from zero. Like I didn't know anything about cutting hair. I've never cut anybody else's hair, and so it's just in the not knowing. You kind of get yourself a little self doubt, and so that's kind of how I felt in the beginning, for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime I ever started something new, you always feel that.
Yeah, yeah.
And at least for me, I've kind of learned that that's kind of normal. And I kind of embrace it now, and I kind of just, you got to feel comfortable with that.
Living in comfort while making uncomfortable, being comfortable making uncomfortable decisions, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Someone told me find comfort in the discomfort.
Yeah.
And I've been applying that a lot lately.
And then, so you do let's just say 10 months of the barber college. How was that transition from, obviously you gain employment at a barbershop, and then at what point did you decide, you know what, I'm going to open up my first, actually for some context, we're in Novato, right? And this is your third brick and mortar location, but how was that transition when you're working under somebody and then going into opening up your first location?
It definitely wasn't easy, especially because I didn't really have the intentions in the beginning of opening up a shop. I never really had thoughts of like owning my own business, having my own shop, having barbers work for me. This kind of just happened just out of necessity. I was kind of placed in a position where it was either open up a shop or find another shop to work at. Because I grew up in Petaluma, and I built my clientele around Petaluma. So at the time, there wasn't really no other shop that I'd want to go and work for. So that kind of led me to opening up my own.
So was it like the barbershop you were working at, were they going out of business, or what happened there?
No, we just kind of had I guess you say, just like, it just didn't end up working out.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
The owner just wanted different things. And so we ended up leaving, me and my other buddy. And, I wanted to stay in Petaluma, but again, I didn't want to work for any other shop owner or barber shop. So that led me to look into spaces so I can find, really just to kind of cut my own clients, So I ended up finding a small little location off of a client of mine who owned a building. And he kind of pitched the idea at first, like, hey, I don't know what you guys are going to do with, me and my buddy. And but I have this little small space, I use it for my office, but I hardly ever use it. If you guys want, you guys can go and check it out and see if it could work, And I did. Wow. And I was like, this is perfect for me and my buddy. It's perfect. A little two-man shop, man. We already have the clientele. We just needed a place to cut our customers,
Okay.
And that's kind of how it started.
And was that first location, was it always Authentics?
Yeah.
Was that the name from the very beginning?
From the very jump, it was called Authentics.
And what's the reason for that? Did you just, for the name, how did you come up with that?
I think it all sprouted from wanting to create something that was real. No gimmicks, nothing fake. A real, raw, Authentics barbershop where you can come in, get a great service, get a great haircut, get the whole barbershop experience, with the community, the barbers, everybody coming in and really trying to portray that into the shop environment I was trying to create.
Okay. And then how long after opening your first location, you actually you closed down your first location and you moved to a bigger shop, right?
I did.
How soon after the opening of the first space was the second or the bigger space,
I'd probably say about a year, maybe 2 years into the first shop that we opened up. And again, I wasn't really thinking like expansion. Again, it just happened out of necessity. By that time, we already had a third barber in the first shop working with us, helping us out, kind of taking on a little bit of the overflow. And then my cousin at the time, he was kind of at a point in his life, kind of where I was, where, he was young, didn't really have a sense of direction, what he wanted to do. And he came to me and kind of saw what I was doing and asked about apprenticing him. So I had the conversation with them. I told them, if you're serious, like I've never taught anybody, but if you're serious, like I'll apprentice you. I'll dedicate time to help you out, or, if I can. So because of the small shop that we were in, I needed a bigger space. Something that can, host a fourth, fifth barber. So I found out through a client of mine that a local barbershop in town that had been there for years was closing down. Guy was retired, older, but that shop had been there for 50 years.
Wow.
And it was at a great location. It was in the intersection of a very popular intersection, a lot of foot traffic. It's already been known as a barbershop for many years. It was almost like a peddling a staple. And I went in there and talked to the guy, looked at the space, and he offered it to me, and I was like, dude, I'll take it, And that's when I commenced to build out and was able to put in 5 chairs in there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And then you went back and you reopened your original location, the smaller shop, making that your second location, right?
Right.
And so how did that come about?
So kind of the same thing, right? Out of necessity. As I grew the team and I ended up filling the chairs, I had my client who was actually going to barber school at the time. And, he was going through the process of going to school. And I knew once he got out, he wanted to come and work with us. He wanted to come and join the team. So I still had that location because I always held on to it because I figured I was going to do something with it at one point. But I wasn't entirely sure what. I was almost kind of thinking I wanted to do a different business. But after thinking long and hard, I was like, well, why don't I just reopen it? It's already built out as a shop. It's just plug and play. I would just have to buy new chairs, new stations, and put in a whole new team in there. And once he graduated, I put him in there, and then came along another guy that came in and asked me about it, and then threw him in there, and then I got another apprentice, and then threw him in there, and then there was 3 because it was only able to fit 3.
Yeah. So I love that your natural progression or your natural growth was just out of providing. It wasn't like the typical of I want more income or more sales, but rather it was people that were actually asking you for jobs, right? And that's how you kind of, like you said, out of necessity. So I think that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, even till this day too. I mean, that's the only reason why I've been expanding. Just because I think also because of what we've been able to do in the last couple of years and the sort of success we've been able to have. People see that and they want to join in on what we're doing, right? They want to be a part of it naturally. And I think that also is what brings in people and causes me to want to expand, just to give other people opportunity and join in on the success,
Yeah, yeah. And I saw, so obviously we follow each other on social media. I saw that you went back to the barber college over in Vallejo, right? And you hosted, was that a seminar or what was that? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was just like a class I did for some other students, just kind of going back and, giving back. Did a little class for them and just talked to them about life outside of school and what that looks like, and just trying to provide some value and share some knowledge, with the intentions of recruiting. That was my main intention, right? Go in there and talk to some of the students and just talk to them,
Yeah.
providing value to them.
And I remember you said during that you implemented the use of social media and establishing their page just for them to get some followers and get some, they show up and they've already got some, they show up to work and they've already got some sort of a following where, it's clientele basically, right? That they can build from social media.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I preached to the guys in school was that the biggest advantage that I had when I got out of school was getting with the right shop, right? Getting with the busiest shop in my local area and just joining in on what they did or what they were doing already. They were really booming shop at the time. They were probably the #1 shop in town. And, they had motion. So naturally I was like, I'm going to just go with the guys that are already doing what I want to do. So I latched onto them and learned a lot from those guys. But, I feel like that also expedited my growth, like my clientele growth and my skill set. Just being around the right people, the right shop, helped me out a ton. So that's kind of what I was trying to preach to the guys, the students, is like, getting with the right shop is a big game changer when you get out of school. Because some guys don't see success right away when they get out, joining the wrong shops, and they get discouraged. They don't see much growth, Also, too, a lot of guys just kind of want it to happen overnight. You kind of have to put the work in as well. But a lot of them end up quitting, and they don't
Oh,
end up
wow.
seeing it all the way through, you know.
Wow. And a lot of it is like you say, they're just not in the right environment, right? They don't,
Hmm.
no room for growth, more or less. And what are your thoughts? So did you, obviously you're using social media, but at which point in time did you decide, or what was that like? Did you have an aha moment where you go, hey, social media is a huge key for us to grow?
Yeah, I mean, it all started when I first started learn how to cut hair back in like 2011, when like Instagram was the main thing, right? And back then it was just photos. It was still just in the photo days where you were just able to post that. And I just started seeing that everybody was on that platform. So naturally, I feel like you want to be where the most eyes are, you know. And it kind of developed, and then the content started kind of like, you know, the quality of content that people were producing just kept like leveling up and leveling up. And then it was like videos and all this other stuff now that you see. But I always kind of had it in the back of my mind because, you know, I would see these young kids, man, that would, you know, be very active on social media, and they were able to grow a pretty significant audience. So they were able to reach a lot of people. And like I said, I always had it, but I never really utilized it. And it wasn't until I'd probably say when I opened up the second location, and now third is when I really started like ramping up the social media and really starting to understand like the power of you know, content and social media, and creating an audience and all that. You know?
Now, and so for you, a lot of people still to this day, 2025, social media to them is just
Born.
hiding behind the camera, just posting before and afters. You're you're doing a lot of that, but in the video version of like, here's, you know, what this haircut transformation looks like, but also you're doing a lot of speaking to the camera. You're putting yourself in front of the camera. How was that transition for you?
It definitely wasn't easy. You know, I think like most of us kind of start out, we don't like being in front of the camera. Some of us, most of us, yeah, speaking in front of a camera, right? I think just because, you know, you're worried about what people are gonna say. You know what I mean? Being judged online. But, you know, understanding that like you have to showcase who you are and like your personality, because people want to do business with people that they know, right? They want to get to know the face behind the service that you're providing. So I would kind of just practice on my own. I would sit there in front of my camera on my phone and just get used to like talking on the phone, showcasing myself. Little by little, I would start posting myself. Even photos was a big deal, like posting myself on a photo, because even then I didn't want to do, you know, let alone speak in front of a camera and post something, you know. But at some point I'm like, you know what, it's just kind of what everybody else is doing. You got to showcase who you are, and your personality, and show all those moments because people can relate to you, right?
Now, your barbers, you know, at all your other locations, I see their content, and obviously they're doing the same thing, right? They're using social media to their advantage and to create a following. That's something that's been huge for us. It's just like everybody, you just said it yourself, like everybody getting in front of the camera, I could, as I'm shooting a video, I could think of 10, 15 other things that both myself and sometimes the person behind the camera can be doing. But it's been huge for us, like just like you said, building trust with your clients and
Right.
losing fear of judgment from others has been huge.
Right.
So let's go back to, you did some recruiting over at Hinton. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Hinton College. Was that for this location, for the third location here in Nevada?
Yes. Yes. The intention was to recruit students near graduation to come and work here.
And then so this location came about. I think you're very big on seeing opportunity, right? So
Definitely.
tell us how you or the reason why you saw room for you or potential for you guys here in Nevada coming over from Petaluma.
I always kind of had it in the back of my mind because once I started cutting hair, you just keep hearing the same thing over and over and over, right? And eventually you start asking yourself, why hasn't anybody, you start hearing problems, right? And then you start asking yourself, why hasn't nobody found a solution for this? And for the longest time, I just kept hearing people tell me like, oh, there's no shops in Marin, there's no shops in Novato, you know, and I would have guys drive from Novato, from, you know, like places like little more south of Marin, come and see us, you know, for that reason. And
Clients, right?
yeah, clients, even new clients, you know, coming in and saying the same thing for years. And it wasn't until one day I was just casually browsing online, not even with the intention of you know, opening up a shop, but just looking at spaces. And I happened to stumble upon this location where we're at, and I liked it. I liked the location, and I reached out to the property manager, and he was really excited about what we've already done in Petaluma, and he was excited to have someone in the service-based industry come and join, you know, what they already have going on here in the plaza. And they were willing to work with us, you know, and the numbers made sense. So I just decided to just take the risk and just go for it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you said they were excited to see what you've done, I imagine you just showed them your social media, right? For Authentics, or how did that go about?
So like, you know, what we built in Petaluma, showcasing that, right? Being able to win Petaluma's best barbershop, that was huge, right? All the social media content I've been doing, our website, everything, you know, all that kind of, you know, showed them that, like, you know, we were a legit business and that, you know, we were trying to do something more. But it's funny how that worked out, because everything up until that moment where I decided to open up the shop, it all kind of led me to that moment, because there was things that I had to learn along the journey in order to be able to open up this space, right? So meaning, like, you know, I had to like show good financials, right? Like, so I had to actually treat this like a business. You know, I had to have all my financials, balance sheet, all that stuff. I've had to have good credit, right? Had I not built that before, I wouldn't be able to acquire this space. You know, being able to draw up a business plan, you know, working with architects, something that I never really did before. All that stuff I had to learn in this space. So I learned a lot opening up this shop, you know, dealing with the city, permits, licensing, all those type of things. It was a huge learning curve for me, but I feel like it was necessary, because now what I know, I can go open up in bigger plazas. So it's a different ballgame when you start working in plazas as opposed to, like, you know, small little commercial spaces, you know? They want to see, like, proof of concept, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of something that a mantra that I heard from my mentor is, goals are for growing, not for getting, right? So in order for you to reach this goal, you had to grow as an entrepreneur,
Right.
right? There was lessons you had to learn, and so that's only going to help you, you know, like you said, when you get into bigger plazas and stuff. So I think that's really amazing. Going into like treating it as a business, a lot of people, I think more in our community, the Hispanic community, I might be wrong, but a lot of small business owners, that's, at the end of the day, that is what we are. What are your thoughts, or what did you implement? I know you do advertising, right?
I do.
And then let's not jump the gun, but while we were getting set up to do this, you got a phone call, a client wanting to get on your schedule. You literally just popped up your calendar on your phone, and you said, I've got these slots open, and you scheduled him in within like 30 seconds. That's clearly software that you're using. So let's speak on advertising first, and then software.
Sure.
Yeah, what type of, I mean, you don't have to give us your secrets, but as far as like, you're doing advertising, right? What are your thoughts on not only advertising, but has that helped you grow it and speed up your process as far as that goes?
Most definitely. I feel like advertising is key, you know. It's a lifeline to any business. If you don't have that, I mean, you don't really have a business, right? Because even then, if you have a great product but nobody knows about it, then you're going to fall short, right? So that's the main thing. And then just thinking, well, where are the most eyes, you know what I mean? Like, where are the most people at? You know, so obviously social media being a big one, you got to have a strong presence on there, right? Because that's just where everybody is. You're not really seeing too many people advertise like on radios anymore, you know, things like that. Like
Yellow pages.
Yellow pages, like times have changed, right?
Yeah.
So social media, digital marketing, right? Such as like SEO, having a website, you know, GMB, which is Google My Business, having a good profile on there, Facebook, Instagram, being able to run social media ads, right, such as Meta ads for Instagram and Facebook, all that. SERP ads, search engine results page, right, being able to rank on Google and all that kind of stuff. And then your old school, right, like one that has never failed and has been around for a long time, it's just word of mouth, simply.
Absolutely.
You know, you give a great service, you give a great product, and people naturally, organically, are going to want to tell somebody about it. You know, and that doesn't cost you anything besides just providing
that's
a
free.
Yeah, it's free advertising for you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
then,
other stuff too, like handing out business cards, things like that, flyers. You know, old school.
Networking.
Big.
We've been huge recently on just putting ourselves out there, right? Sometimes it's ego, or I think you tell yourself a story that you're. I know that a lot of people do that, where they just have self-doubt. They think, oh, like, who am I? But once put yourself out there, you're willing to shake people's hands. You're willing to share knowledge, right? People just vibe with you, and you know, even in the same industry, like if I'm booked out, you know, I refer other installers, you know, and just the ones that I network with, because I know who they are. I know I've seen their work, and I know that they're gonna take care. At the end of the day, if I'm not making the money, I want the clients to be taken care of, right? Just because I don't want them to have a sour taste in their mouth with our industry, you know. So I think networking is huge. And then before I forget, your advertising is on another level, in the sense of I saw one of your ads for recruiting barbers, right? So
Yeah.
if some people are too afraid to advertise to find the right type of clients, you're even advertising to recruit the right type of barbers.
Right.
That's awesome, man.
Exactly.
That's good. Do you wanna what made you want to advertise for so you can find barbers?
I figure all the barbers are on social media, right? Everybody's on there posting their work, so naturally, I feel like that's the best way to find barbers, right? Because everybody's on there. And it allowed me to kind of like really niche down on like exactly who I'm looking for, age range, all that, male, female, whatever, right? What local area they're in.
Wow.
So that was very helpful, you know. But that was all a learning curve too, learning how to run ads on Meta, right? Which, you know, is for Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
But it's a total game changer once you learn how to do that, you know.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. It's weird how that works. I had never seen that. I don't know when you started it, but after our first sit down here, suddenly like Instagram thinks I'm a barber, and it's like showing me like, hey, you've been near this barbershop, consider working here.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of fascinating how this whole social media, like online ads work. It's insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it really does pick up on your interests, and that's how you start getting like those retargeted ads, right? You start searching for things online, Amazon, and you start getting all of a sudden all these like ads on like whatever sort of product you're looking into, right? So it's pretty amazing how it works.
And then besides the ads, you're using software. What are your thoughts on that, and how has that helped you stay sane, right? Stay on top of everything.
Oh man, dude, it's a game changer. I mean, in this day and age, if you're not using software, you're gonna be left behind for sure. You know, one thing that I've learned is that like as a business owner, you have to be able to adapt with the times. You got to stay relevant. You got to be up on the technology, the software, whatever. So when the whole booking softwares were coming out, I mean, I hopped on it right away because it made it just so much easier. Because everything before I was doing just on like pen and paper. I was getting calls on my personal phone, and I had to stop what I was doing to answer the phone and go back and forth with him. How does this time slot work? No, how about that? So now I'm taking away from the service that I'm providing for my client, and because I'm on a schedule, like time is ticking. You know, so I don't have time to sit there and like have a full-blown conversation about trying to get a schedule. So that just made it so much easier once I implemented the booking software, because it was as simple as here's a link, book it at your convenience. Pick a date, pick a time, pick a service, and it's there. You get reminders when your appointment is, right? And book it at your convenience. And it made it very simple, you know, very easy that like your grandma can do it. You know, that's the thing, is you got to make it simple for people, because otherwise they won't do it.
Absolutely.
There was a little bit of a learning curve too. You know, I had to kind of tell my clients, well, I use this link, and I'm like, what do you mean? I just can't message you? And I'm like, no. You know, they want to have that access to you, but what I've learned is that like you kind of have to limit that, because you know that's when stuff starts getting a little complicated, and then like I said, it just takes up a lot of your time.
It's almost like you have to educate your clients, right?
You gotta train them.
Because that's actually that's what we've been doing a lot is we use the CRM. It keeps us super organized. I don't know how I went without it for so long, but it's basically here's your proposal. You can literally accept through the phone. I've been on job sites with clients and they double tap on their phone to do Apple Pay. Without that, without the deposit, our system will not generate the work order. Without the work order, we can't schedule the job, right? So it's a couple steps that are very easy, but that clients get taken back. But it's what I tell them. It's like, hey, it's the deposit is needed for our CRM, and without like I could go back to the old school ways of like, hey, making an exception for you and manually adding this into our calendar. But a lot of times, you know how it goes. You got a phone call, you got a text message, you've got a meeting. You can forget. So I just tell them it's like, hey, in wanting to help you, I could almost do you a disservice by forgetting about you. So let's all. I've transitioned all of our clients into our CRM, and the few, it's just been a handful of them that were like, what do you mean a deposit, Carlos? And I go, dude, look, trust me, just do it. And boom, within 30 seconds, they've already told me when they want to schedule the job for. They process the deposit, I get the notification, no matter where I am, I just schedule it, from my phone. And they get text and email confirmation. And then they'll call me like, dude, what is that? How did you do that? So when 30 seconds ago, they might have been. So look who showed up. Matt.
Look at the cat drug in, huh?
Yeah, so
What's happening?
we actually met through Matt. He was the GC for this build out and he referred us here and he stopped by.
Yeah, super happy with your work, Carlos. Project came out beautiful. The whole project. I mean, Danny, played a big part in that as well with the layout and everything. How it was designed. I just tried to give a couple of recommendations, and Danny, here we found Carlos, and Danny was happy with going this direction. And I mean, look at it; it's a classic look, a timeless classic look. That is there's just a beautiful finish. Can't go wrong with a nice, beautiful polished floor.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Man. We got more work coming together.
Absolutely.
This guy's kind of screwed me. Got me used to a nice haircut, so I'm going to be commuting up here, man. Yeah, I have to.
Got him locked in now.
Yeah.
Get the treatment, right?
Yeah.
I'll be here for that presidential one day.
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah. So cool. No. Thank you again, Carlos, for just being super professional, on time, prompt, just all of those things.
Yeah.
Danny being very easygoing, easy to work with. That says a lot too. You never sweated me on any of this.
You're the pro.
So, yeah.
What am I to tell you?
Yeah, you took my recommendations and flew with it. I mean, look at the place. Every time I see a video of this on Instagram or whatnot, it makes me happy. I'm proud. I'm proud to see what we transformed this location into from an old laundry mat with the linoleum tile. Remember when you came here? It's just dark and dingy, and to this, bright and vibrant and just beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, and he'll be here for years to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold up.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, you can't go wrong with polished floors.
Awesome. And then we're gonna get you on some software and all that stuff to keep track of you.
Improve.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Always room to grow, right?
Absolutely.
Always room to learn. There's always something new every day.
Oh man, it's never ending.
Yeah.
Never ending. And then with where were we? Danny's software. Right?
Software.
Yeah. So
Talk about software.
that was good, but going back to you, like, where are you? 5 years from now.
Like I said, just scaling and growing the business, man. Trying to open up more barbershops in Marin, replicating what we're doing here in Novato, and just keep going down south, and being able to provide, a service, an experience to, more customers in Marin, and hopefully one day be able to retire, sail off into the sunset,
See the exit.
or do something else. I don't know. I mean, I'm learning that I really love business, so I wouldn't mind dabbling into other sorts of business.
Do
know?
you think, and actually, that's actually could be very interesting. Do you think what you've learned here to grow this business, which is barbershops, it can be implemented and applied to more or less every other service-based business for sure, right?
Most definitely. There's a lot of principles that you learn, that I could definitely apply into any other sort of service-based industry for sure.
And with doing advertising and doing the analytics, you could basically open up any sort of business anywhere, right? It's just a matter of, like you said, finding a problem that needs a solution in that area, and going with that. So.
Getting it out to the masses, Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a lot of skills that I had to acquire in order to be able to be where I'm at, and all those skills can translate into something else. So.
And last thing, I know you got another client here, but I remember you mentioned you have a business mentor, right? Or a business coach? What?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, a mentor. I joined his mentorship program about a year and a half ago or so.
Wow.
And I always kind of had it, but I never actually really followed through with it. And it wasn't until like last year where I actually really started to getting serious about it and learning what he was preaching and actually implementing the stuff that he was preaching. And once I started doing that, man, that's kind of when everything kind of changed for me. Things started to make sense.
What was that experience like? Was he teaching you things you didn't know or you didn't think of, or was it more the actual accountability?
Both.
Ah.
Both. I'd say both, man. And accountability was huge too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that, so for me that was big, because I always, like I said, I had it for a while, but I just never really followed through with it, and actually implemented a lot of the strategies that he was preaching, and showed me. So it was cool to have that, and we do like weekly calls, and you would kind of like share your wins or whatever and what you were doing. So it definitely was a good way to keep yourself accountable,
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. Do you think that had any sort of a role as far as getting you to where you are within the last, year and a half?
Definitely, most definitely. Especially because he already has the experience and he's already kind of built what I want to do, right? And he's already made the mistakes. So I'm just learning from the guy that made 10 years of mistakes, and I'm just kind of getting the shortcut version of it.
Yeah.
I'm getting his 10 years of experience.
Oh, there you go.
Condensed.
And
that's big.
With the accountability part of like whatever he tells you to do, you have to implement, right?
Right.
I think that's huge because I think we all, to an extent, we all know what to do, right? But if nobody's holding us to any sort of standard, then we're just going to sit in comfort and not do it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's I think that's huge.
Yeah, because it's one thing to like, learn this stuff, but it's like, if you're not really implementing it, it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
And I mean, at least kind of what I've been seeing, what I've kind of learned from people is that you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't do anything with that, then, it kind of goes to waste.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You gotta implement that stuff. You gotta do it. Take action.
You obviously condensed his lessons, right? His 10 years of experience, but I think we touched on that last time. It's like you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And then going hand in hand with the accountability, I think that's it. I'm excited to see, where you're going to be, a year from now, 3 years, 5 years, and, just continuing to show support. So
Definitely, man. I appreciate that. No, thank you.
that's awesome.
Just scaling and growing, man. That's it. Always wanting better for yourself, trying to get to that next level, whatever that is. But I don't know. I don't think I could ever get to a point where I can feel comfortable, I gotta like build and grow, because otherwise I get really frustrated and like I get bored. I get bored. Like I need to have something going on. I always kind of like need that sort of chaos, and like, otherwise my life gets really boring, and then it's happened a lot of times in my life where that happens, and I'm just super unhappy because I don't have anything that I'm working towards. I need to have something that I'm working towards, to feel, I don't know, fulfilled, whatever you want to call it, but I don't know. Gives me purpose.
Milestones almost. Right?
Yeah. Goals, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gives me purpose.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We were just, Matt, before you joined, Danny was saying that there was a huge learning curve for him, you know, in dealing with the city, the financials and all that. And we could sit down and talk one day, and a mantra that I've taken on is goals are for growing and not for getting, right? So in an effort of him being able to open up this third location, a brick and mortar, I was waiting for that. His third location, he had to do a lot of growing as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's awesome.
Definitely.
I didn't want to interrupt, but yeah, I mean, I've known Danny for quite some time now. And I've known Danny when he was the barber, the quiet, reserved barber.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
always just kind of felt like Danny was just observing everything and everybody. Not in a negative way or anything, but in a positive light, you know, so that he could grow, that he can grow. And look, I mean, I've watched Danny take off. You know, I've watched him take off, and I've had conversations with Danny as well, and given him the respect that he deserves, because he's worked his butt off, you know, to get to where he is. I mean, 3 locations. I mean, I know that is not easy, especially nowadays with everything being so expensive. So he's climbing the ladder. I mean, not fast, but you don't want to go fast anyways, right? It's slow and steady, you know, slow and steady. Maybe not slow, but steady, you know.
Steady, yeah.
Yeah.
So I told him, I give him the utmost respect in that manner. You know, making something from nothing.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, Matt.
I didn't have told you that, you know?
Yeah.
We've had those conversations.
Yeah, me and Matt, actually, I met Matt at the very first barbershop I was working at.
Oh, wow.
That's where I met him.
You guys are way back.
I remember Danny one time. How many haircuts did you cut that? Everybody was out of town, but Danny was
That's
there.
when I hit my record. I think I hit like 31 cuts in a day or something like that.
Danny held it down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing too with Danny is like, you know, nowadays I feel like a lot of barbershops, or barbers, I guess you could say, are just turnover. You know, get the person in the chair, you know, bang them out, boom,
man.
boom, you know, on to the next. Danny, like I was talking to my wife about this just the other day, Danny. You are now trying to really provide a service, right? With that presidential service, right? Like, and I love that. I'm upkeep, right? I'm beating up on my body every day.
Yes,
so
sir.
to be able to come here and sit in your chair and be able to, get my ear hair waxed and my nose hair waxed, like I like that stuff, you know. So like I appreciate, you know, what you're trying to create or implement. You know,
A service. It's not just haircuts.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, that was a big learning curve for me too.
Yeah.
Learning
it's a
the
service.
difference.
Yeah, you don't feel rushed. I mean, nowadays I'm in and out of these chairs and they're charging me X amount of dollars and it's like, damn, you know, like, you know.
I feel like I'm getting
like
rushed out
Scott
here,
Gonzalez or
dude.
something, you know.
Yeah.
So,
You just went through the assembly line.
Copy and paste, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's helped us a lot in growing is I tell my clients, like, hey, you're not just paying for a floor, you're paying for peace of mind, like the whole service. Like, if we're involved, you know, we just had, like 2 weeks ago, we had 2 garage floors where there was a shortage of chips, and we had to send, our guys were all busy. I was about to make the drive down to Jamestown, 2.5 hour drive one way. So it would have been 5 hours of my day just to not have to call my clients and say, hey, they don't have this color. And that's the behind the scenes stuff that they don't see. Luckily, we found it in Stockton. And then so it was still a little bit of a drive, and
those costs that aren't getting or unable to pass along to the client either.
oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah. There's no change order there. They didn't change the scope of work.
No.
You know, they hired us, and then I couldn't. Obviously, if it was beyond our control, but it was simply just jump in the truck and go up there and buy the color. So.
Well, and that's part of being the boss too. Is only solutions. You know, finding
Yes,
a
sir.
solution. No problems. Only solutions.
Untying knots. Someone told me that. Like, you're just untying knots all day.
Yep. All day.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, hold the client's hand and walk them through the whole process as easy as possible. You know, make it easy for the customer, the client.
Absolutely.
I'm bringing you back, Carlos.
Yeah. Oh.
I think I did this on you last time, so I should push it a little bit.
Well,
There
right
you
on,
go.
fellas. No, I'm glad I was able to drop in and see you guys. It was a
Yeah.
pleasant surprise to see you.
Yeah,
as well,
it worked out. Yeah, happy to
Um,
see you, Matt.
And like I said, thank you again for your team, your and your team's service. Because again, your guys were really good too. They took really good care of us.
Yeah, they're down in Big Sur.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that project. I enjoy, following you and your content and watching you grow as well, Carlo.
Oh, man.
Because we're just young entrepreneurs trying to make it. Trying to grow.
Yes,
trying
sir.
to build,
All of
trying
us.
to develop.
Uh-huh.
All of us.
So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, right on, fellas. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day.
All right.
All right.
We'll be in touch, bro.
Right on. I'm
All
gonna
right.
drop off this box and I'll be on my way.
Sounds good, brother.
Right on, guys.
Let's jump back on that and the experience, right? Let's touch on that a little bit. What was that transition for you going from switching into like that mindset of providing our clients with an experience and not just a haircut, right? I think it has something to do with building relationships, right?
Mm-hmm. I learned that actually from one of my barber friends. I was watching his content a lot on social media, and he was posting a lot of the stuff that he was doing. And I started kind of seeing what he was charging, and I was like, holy smokes, dude, like for a barber, he's charging like a ridiculous amount, right? And one day he hosted a class where he was like, yo, if you guys want to do like a shadow me day, come reach out, blah, blah, blah. So I did, and I went to go shadow him for a little bit, and that's pretty much where I learned everything. And he pretty much taught me the difference of like an experience versus just a regular haircut, So I got to understand like the psychology behind why someone pays what they pay, and being okay with it. And I got to talk to some of his clients coming up. I got to talk to some of his clients, so that was pretty cool. And just asking them, like, how long you been coming to him, and why do you pay what you pay? And everyone pretty much said the same thing. I come because of the experience.
Awesome.
My man takes his time, dude, and the setting, everything. The level of service is excellent. So he has clients that travel an hour, 2 hours away to go see him.
Wow.
So
awesome.
then he got me thinking in that way, and just saying, if you can provide an experience for people, dude, people are willing to pay for it. And the way he put it to me is like, just hit all the 5 senses. That's how you create an experience. Touch, smell, sight, all those. So that's what I took away from him was that, like, the experience.
And that's awesome because he was willing to share that knowledge, right? Where others would have just, oh, I'm going to do this just for myself and I won't share it. I think there's a lot of that in a lot of industries, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. A lot of people, they called it gatekeeping.
Yeah.
In this day and age, right?
Yeah, and so I think even for him, he's just coming from a place of he wants to better the industry. I think, right?
The standard, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely, man.
Honestly, I come from that background of 15 growing up. It was like a $10 haircut.
We all did.
Yeah, and then oh man, you're crazy if you're paying $18, right? Obviously, times have changed, inflation and all that, but it's not. Clearly, I see that it's not just a haircut.
Right.
It's more of an experience. It's time, now that I've got business experience and I see there's overhead and all of that. Now it all makes more sense, but I think definitely I see that your guys' industry different.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is, man. I mean, and that's another thing that I had to learn as a business owner was like understanding exactly who your core audience is, like who's your ideal customer, right? Because this service might not be for everybody, and that's okay. Yeah. But there are people out there that are willing to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So those are the people that I want to talk to, and that's kind of being able to understand exactly who my customer base is. Like I can describe them to you. Exactly the age, where they hang out, what do they do. Now your marketing becomes more targeted.
All the analytics kicking in.
It's way more targeted, and you're spending less on it, right? Because they're converting more.
More efficient, yeah.
More efficient.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
And then it turns into more organic once through word of mouth.
Definitely.
And even repeat clients, right? Once you gain that client, they love the experience and they're going to come back.
Right. Leave them with an unforgettable experience. I've always been taught that leave a like an everlasting impression, right? Like your
Mm-hmm.
service got to be so good that people naturally, organically want to tell somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know you have something special.
Absolutely.
You know, 'cause there's been a lot of moments in time when I've experienced like a level of service, or I bought a product so good that like I wanted to go tell my friends or family like, hey, yo, you need to go experience this,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Chick-fil-A motto where they say like, "My pleasure" and all that,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and then they can afford to close on a Sunday.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you could learn a lot from these like franchises, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
man.
there's a lot that I've learned from like sort of like businesses like that. You know, like how
Absolutely.
are they able to do what they do? Like customer service is a big thing, consistency,
Mm-hmm.
all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. What is it like? Consistent and replicatable results.
Hmm. What is it?
Consistent and
Oh yeah,
replicatable results.
right. That's how
Yeah.
people are able to scale. I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
being able to do the same thing over and over again.
Absolutely.
You know.
All right, guys. I think that's gonna wrap it up. Reshoot of episode 1. We're sticking with Trust the Grind podcast, and we'll be coming back here, obviously, you know, and just keep posting more of Danny's story as he continues to grow, both as a business owner, as a barber, and you know, all three as an entrepreneur. Thanks, Danny, for allowing us to come over and for being part of this.
Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate all the work you've done for the place, man. I mean, I get a lot of compliments on it, dude. Obviously, it goes a long way without saying, but like the level of work that you provide too is by far the best. So
Thank you.
highly recommend it, and yeah, thank you for letting me share my story, dude. I
Yeah,
appreciate
appreciate
that,
it. Appreciate it, man. Great story. Very inspiring. You know, third location. There's something to be said, and like I said, excited to see where you're at, where you are. You know, 5 years from now, and we'll still be here.
Definitely, man.
Absolutely.